Lawrence.
I'm Nick.
Welcome to the Nick and Lawrence Show.
Welcome back, and we are excited to do another episode talking about our favorite topic, nostalgia.
Right.
And it is the month of November, and we have November stuff to talk about.
Yep, got a lot of stuff to dive into, and I'll just wish you as we're rolling to the end of November, early into December, happy Thanksgiving to you, Nick.
Happy Thanksgiving to you too.
So, yeah, where to start, I guess.
Where to start? So let's just cover the basics here. So we'll do an overview of what we have laid out here. So we have Mr. Rogers and Back to the Future.
Yep.
Now, the reason we have Mr. Rogers is because of the Tom Hanks movie just came out.
Yep.
So
Yep.
we're going to talk a little bit about that, and then we'll go into Back to the Future, talk about that because that's anniversary.
Anniversary, yeah.
So you want to start with Mr. Rogers?
Yeah, we'll start with that. So I just, before we did the taping, it's, as we said, it's now we're into Thanksgiving and stuff. So the movie just came out. Had the opportunity to go and see it. Just saw it over the weekend, and I'd seen it.
You actually saw it a
twice.
special early screening, didn't you?
I saw it twice, and so far I've liked it, twice. So this actually came out. Just came out before the. I got this right when the movie came out, and it's Life magazine. I think there's another one that has the same identical cover. So I was like, oh, the Life, and I think Newsweek or something like that.
Time magazine.
No, it was Newsweek. I think it was Newsweek. Yeah, but same identical cover, same story. I think the only thing about Newsweek it was it'll have a little in the bottom corner. It has a picture of Tom Hanks with Daniel Tiger. So really awesome magazine full of behind the scenes pictures and stuff from like Neighbor's Music Shop, and on the back you'll have just some other pictures. Here on the right is that Tom Hanks person. I found out in a lot of interviews when the movie came out as well that people were interviewing Tom Hanks and looking up his genealogy and found out that he is he's like how is it, the sixth cousin?
Yeah.
Sixth distant cousin away from Fred Rogers.
Yeah, so he's related to Fred Rogers.
He's related through Fred Rogers. So
that's so funny.
Yeah, so.
And he didn't know that, right?
He didn't know it. There's a video or two that if you go and check for videos, I think Variety was one of them that interviewed him and his wife Rita, and that was a really interesting, video, and seeing him react. And I liked his little quote. He said, "Couldn't I be related to Johnny Depp?" So that was kind of
funny.
Kind of funny.
Well, we'll see if we can put a link up to that video in
we'll
either the description or up in the window here.
Yeah, but check out Variety, which is where the reaction, where his reaction comes through. Look for Tom and Rita in the reaction from Variety. So yeah, it was a really great movie. Two of my friends, when I first saw it, went with a couple of people that I knew, and one of the people actually, had some tears. So it is a tearjerker movie. Really good story. I guess there's a lot of stuff coming out, but I'll just leave it at this. It isn't supposed to be a Mr. Rogers biography. It'll be more about Tom Junod, who was the journalist who wrote the article about Fred Rogers and about Heroes. So, really awesome.
It's like behind the scenes kind of.
It's behind the scenes. I want to say it's a fictional version of what might have happened through the news articles. What I took out of it. Yeah. But I still highly say go and see it. It's worth it. I thought there was just a lot of great things, for me, like I said, I've seen it twice already. We're 5 or 6 days out from when this has been when we've posted this, and I highly recommend it. I kind of take it as Fred Rogers used to do these videos called Mr. Rogers Talks with Parents, and he would do these especially before a new themed week would come on, superheroes or conflict or whatever. And I feel like the movie kind of goes in that route of what he would have done if he were talking to parents about certain topics that were important. So if there's some things that are disturbing about this movie and stuff, just to let you know that they were going, in my feeling, they were going towards the Mr. Rogers Talks to Parents
Oh, okay.
kind of a thing.
So it's not like a children's movie.
It's not. It's rated. It is rated PG. Now I was
PG.
PG. It's PG. You if you want to take your kids, I would check out the movie first and then go back and bring them so they don't get concerned, because there are some segments in there that we won't mention because I don't want to give away too much of the goodies. But
yeah. Okay.
yeah.
But
So
overall, you liked it.
overall, I liked it. I mean, I'm really amazed. It looks like it's getting another successful rating as the Won't You Be My Neighbor documentary, which was more of a film clip kind of a movie.
Yeah.
It was presented last year, but
It didn't have actors in it, right? It was just like.
well, you had Yo-Yo Ma, who was a famous cellist. You had his sons, and Mrs. Rogers was a part of it. Actually, you'll see a lot of some former cast members, including Mrs. Rogers, in this film. So be sure to look for it. It's going to be a blink, but I wanted to let you guys know because that's not really to me a spoiler alert, but I just wanted you to be like, I didn't see any cast or crew, and they're there. They're in a very hidden scene in a coffee shop, and that's all I'll give with that.
Okay, interesting.
But
so it's similar to the Won't You Be My Neighbor, but that was more of a like real documentary.
It was a real documentary with
not with dramatized scenes. It was all
It was all pretty much with Won't You Be My Neighbor. That went from the beginning of the neighborhood to his death, roughly. They didn't do like his birth or.
So it was like a biography.
It was a biography about the neighborhood and leading.
Yeah.
It went from 1968 to 2003, whereas the timeline that they went in what was happening in and out and around Mr. Rogers' neighborhood.
Yeah, and so this movie was more of like a tribute, like based on a true story, kind of.
Based on a true story. It's kind of like, and the way I took it was like Saving Mr. Banks, where a lot of the storyline was not, realistic.
They had to fill it in.
They had to fill it in. Well, on Saving Mr. Banks, for anybody who hasn't, I went and did some research with that one, and that was kind of where a lot of the stuff was all letters that they had written back and forth with maybe a few telephone. I think that P.L. Travers did show up to the studio, but it was on days when he was like off doing another movie, or was on doing the Florida project for Disney World, which was going to be years away. So
they weren't as close as the movie showed them in real life.
In real life,
yeah, like she wasn't a very nice person.
Right. So I mean, this movie is kind of that's kind of same way based on what I know about the story and stuff.
It's like behind the scenes that people only Mr. Rogers knew, and the writer of the article. Right. So they had to fill that in because nobody else was there, obviously. Right. Right. So okay, well.
So yeah, that's that. Really great movie. I recommend it. I do. Like I said in our when we watched the reaction video, I said make sure you have tissues. This will be a movie that will.
I'm sure. Yeah.
It's definitely. I mean, I think there was some laughter and there was some sad parts, but it was a really good movie. And just keep in mind when you go and check the movie out first, and then if you want to bring your teenagers, the teenagers could definitely go, but definitely check into the movie before you bring the kids and make your own decisions on that. That's my 2 cents worth.
Okay, cool. Well, check it out, or let us know if you checked it out already, and let us know what you thought. Yeah. So moving into some more things we're thankful for, since we're talking about November, Thanksgiving, stuff that happened in November. We have
Back to the Future 2 that came out and had its 30th anniversary.
Yes, Back to the Future 2 was November. What do you know exact day it came out?
That I have forgotten. I should know, and
So just November. So Back to the Future 2 came out in November 30 years ago. So that would have been 89.
Yep, 89.
Okay. Yeah.
It might have come out November 22nd.
Okay.
Might have, but if we're wrong, write it in the comments if we made the mistake, because I know that.
Yeah, we didn't have a chance to look up the exact date.
We should have looked at it.
But it came out in November. We're celebrating the 30th anniversary of Back to the Future 2, which is actually kind of interesting because the first movie, Back to the Future, first one came out
Yeah.
in 1985.
Right, and that
So-
that one I know when it came out because it came out July 3rd of
Right.
1985.
But what's interesting is if you think about the time span, that was 4 years.
Right.
You know, it took them 4 years to release Back to the Future
But
2.
well, we also have to think about 3, which will next year in May will have its 30th anniversary, but they weren't a November to May release.
Yeah.
That's
So-
how long you had to.
I'm not sure exactly of the production, stories and whatnot. I'm sure there's a story behind all three and how they were made and when they were made. I know if you go back and watch commentaries or, documentaries or things about the Back to the Future, they always planned on it being a trilogy.
Right.
But
Well,
the second one and the third one came out like just a year after each other. And so,
well, I believe that I mentioned in our, and we wanted to bring Back to the Future back because we didn't talk about the other two,
Yeah.
or at least we want to focus at least on part 2. But for those of you who are Back to the Future fans, I'm a Back to the Future fan. Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale said that in the first movie that, and we kind of recapped it, but we'll refresh it in case you haven't seen it or you want to go back, but we'll do it. And that is the flying car was just supposed to be a joke at the end. And all of a sudden it became a huge box office thing. The other thing that I wanted to touch on about Back to the Future is that it was tested in front of a group from San Jose, and so that was fast. So in our area, like 2.5 hours away from where we live in Sacramento, California, I was like, wow, our own little area of Northern California was getting a Back to the Future release, private screening, and nobody had no idea what they were going to see. But the flying car was just supposed to be a joke, and people said, well, you obviously thought when you were putting in the flying car gag that you were going to have a second movie, and they said, no, we don't have any intentions. But the reviews were so big and the box office hit, they're like, okay, we are now hitting a trilogy. And I know, and I think they stuck with the trilogy. They weren't going to make like a fourth movie or anything, but the Back to the Future series, from my understanding, did lead on to other trilogy and movies being made. There had been ones in the past, but they were box office failures.
Yeah.
Like I think the Three Musketeers was like a box office failure, even though later on it's become a classic and stuff and things like that. But Back to the Future is what really the whole trilogy helped to do Star Wars and Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter and a whole bunch of other trilogies and stuff.
Yeah. Well, Star Wars was before Back to the Future.
Well, but the whole saga and stuff.
Well, that was.
I guess they did have
That would have been 6 movies.
6 movies, but
So the 3 more.
well, you never. I mean,
Yeah.
the way that they talked in 2010, because at the time of one of my documentaries had stated the last time they did a documentary for Back to the Future, that said here's all the list of movies that we have now in the 2010s, because we are coming to the end, getting close to the end of another decade. And so, about 9 years ago when they released the Back to the Future trilogy on Blu-ray, and so they were like, oh, we got this and we got this movie and that movie, and now we've got all these, trilogies out there that weren't as popular. I think Star Wars came out in 77, but it wasn't until 83 that, Return of the Jedi came out, or The Empire Strikes Back. But that's going on a different tangent.
Yeah. We'll do a Star Wars
We do
video
have to do it. So,
in another one.
so I did bring some stuff
Okay.
to show you. This is the original VHS Back to the Future tape. It does have its trailer for the third movie on it.
Yeah, and I'll have to look this up, but my assumption is they made the second and the third one together.
Right.
So they just made them, in a row consecutively.
Well, they filmed them back to
Yeah,
back.
back to back.
So they'd be ready with
Back to back to
from
the future.
November
Back to back to the future.
from November to May. So that's
Yeah.
only, what is it? That's not. I'm not sure.
Yeah, 5, 6.
Yeah, something
7
like
months.
that. Yeah, 7 months at least. But yeah, so here's the tape, and
It's in nice condition.
yep, I keep my videotapes in really good condition.
It's good.
But yeah, so speaking of Back to the Future, there was a Back to the Future magazine that came out. A friend of mine gave me this, and we didn't show him the last video. It just has so many just little information and stuff. I think in there's
So that looks pretty old.
it's really
Official
old.
collector's edition. So that probably came out when the movie came out.
It's
Yeah, that would have been something that if you were a fan and you were like in the demographic for Back to the Future, you probably would have got this.
You would have gotten it.
Put up Michael J. Fox.
Put it up in your bedroom.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think well, for me, I don't think you would have seen this in the 2-year-old's bedroom in 1985.
Yeah. Maybe, you never know. Maybe
show my age.
Maybe it was in your parents' bedroom. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It definitely looks like an 80s,
80s magazine.
Yeah.
But I thought that was cool. But then I was, I had, when we had Back to the Future Day in 2015, I was able to, and I think you had mentioned before we started taping that, this is the USA Today Hill Valley Special Edition paper. I was joking about when this day came last month on Instagram and Facebook and my channels and stuff about I went one day into the future to get this because it was October 22nd was the release, and Marty and Doc and Jennifer went into the future on October 21st. So I thought it was pretty cool to get it before like Doc did in the movie. But I thought there was some humorous things in the thing. I like this Hollywood to remake A Match Made in Space.
By George McFly.
By George McFly. Obviously, in the future, George McFly is going to movie based off of his book. Yep. Doesn't surprise. And when I looked at the magazine, I thought, how funny is how we're in the 21st century now, and just thinking about all the little things that they're like doing, and then like we were talking about, we got Star Wars, we got all these different like sequels and movies and stuff that are either coming to an end or we're getting remakes and stuff. Nick and I were kind of talking about how like the new Disney Plus that just came out. That's been really fun, and watching like the original Disney movies and then seeing remakes. So this this pretend newspaper really kind of hits where we are in today's society, where we've got so many remakes to movies, or we're just coming up with more and more sequels to the original classic.
Well, I mean, we're not saying that's a good thing either. Yeah. There was a time when sequels and trilogies were,
meant something.
They were quality. And now it's a little different now because it's like, well, instead of making another sequel to a movie, it's like they're just going back and we're going to make Back to the Future again, but for this generation, So they're doing that with all the movies, and I'm sure you guys all know that. And if you're like us, you're probably getting a little burnt out from all the remakes of the classic movies. And then we've talked about the live action remakes too that Disney's been making. But to actually put it in perspective, not to go off on a tangent here, but it is kind of annoying, especially when the live action remakes aren't as good as the originals, and people question why were they made, or why did they need to remake it. I don't know if this is true for every single remake that they're doing using the same storyline and the same title, but some of those situations might have to do with copyright laws. And I've heard that certain copyrights for names and for titles and for stories will expire after so much time, and that's why they have to remake the movie and remake the story in order to keep the copyright of that. And it's just like, for example, Mickey Mouse is coming up on his copyright. Disney will obviously Mickey Mouse only has a 100-year copyright, which is a long time, but it's coming up in 10 years. He just turned 91, so 9 years.
Well, we got to get him a new copyright.
Yeah, so Disney will obviously redo the copyright. I'm sure.
I have a feeling because Mickey Mouse is the kind of the one who started it all, and so obviously I'm sure Mickey Mouse's lawyers and everything will get out there and be like, we gotta renew his contract. I mean, he's not like all the other characters who kind of just disappear after a while and get inked out like in Roger Rabbit. Yeah. Actually, that's 31 years for Roger Rabbit. But I was thinking about Roger Rabbit because you can wipe out a tune with the dip. Mm-hmm. Which actually, there's a Roger Rabbit in the second Back to the Future movie in the antique store when Marty gets his Sports Almanac.
Yeah.
So
right.
little Disney and Back to the Future.
Well, yeah, they're always tying into each other, aren't they?
Uh-huh. It's surprising Back to the Future because it's Amblin. I mean, of course, it's Universal anyway, but
Yeah.
but I brought the soundtracks.
Okay.
I should have brought the VHS for 3, but soundtracks for 2 and 3, and I would have imagined that you would have seen these at least back to back already in the stores.
I mean, especially when the movies came out, CDs were new and they were hot and they were expensive. Like CD players were expensive, and you had to save up for a CD player, or you spent a lot of money on a CD player, and so buying the CD versions of the soundtracks was always like a treat.
See, we showed in our first video, we showed the cassette because that's what came out with the first movie, and then the CDs came, and these, have been around for a good long time. You can still, I'm sure, buy them, but I think what they did on both of these was just to do the music score on them versus the first cassette, which had things like Johnny B. Good and Time Bomb Town and all of the.
Well, yeah, because the first movie had all those iconic songs.
I mean, they had them in the other two or so. I mean, this one was more Western, but still.
It's not the same because
and the thing is, the Western one just had totally just it was pretty basic. But the second one, you had a lot of. I was really surprised when I watched the end credits to see how many things that they were using nostalgic wise, like even when they were in the future, how they had the TV screens and all the different shows of the 80s, from Wheel of Fortune to Family Ties to anything you could think of.
Yeah. No, they did a good job.
Yeah.
And what's the other CD you brought?
This one is it's actually the trilogy music. It's to all 3 of the movies.
Okay.
See, it's a little bit of everything. Oops.
Oh.
And
where's it at?
At home, and I was grabbing stuff.
It got lost in time. Did somebody take it Back to the Future?
Actually, it has the matching the CD is actually pretty cool. Anyway, because it's a blue disc with Marty and Doc on the CD. I've got the CD. It's in my CD case. I didn't grab it. I was in a hurry and put things together. And
if you've seen our other Back to the Future videos, you know that we have other collectibles, and we both have the Blu-rays. The 3-disc set, and it's a classic movie. The one other thing that I do have that I just started collecting are these Funko Pops. And so this came out during New York Comic Con 2019, which was just maybe a month or so ago. And so they released a special edition Marty McFly. And I'll just leave that there for you to look at. I won't tell you what it's from, but let us know in the comments if you recognize this suit and when it appeared in the Back to the Future movies. So
we got that one, and then the back.
Yeah, so this is a special edition of the Pop movies for Back to the Future, and then the collection itself, just for the standard ones, which is cool. I haven't got those yet, but I want to pick them up. So we've got Marty McFly and Doc Brown, and let us know in the comments if you're a collector, a Funko collector. Let us know if you have this one or any other cool ones that you want to talk about that are nostalgic. But I thought this one was cool. It it came out just as a special edition, so I'm gonna hold on to it because I'm a Back to the Future fan. And now I don't think I noticed that the other 2 were on the back there for that set. So now I'm gonna have to go see if I can find where those are at.
Find them.
Yeah.
So I think we're out of time.
Yep.
Look for our next video. We won't give away too much, but we've got an idea as we're going into December, where we've got a very fun video idea that we want to do, but we'll.
Let's just say it'll be around the time of December 5th. December
5th. That's what we're planning on. Yeah. But we've got a very special treat where we're not going to be here at Nick's place here in the studio. So
look out for that.
Look for that one.
And just a reminder, subscribe to our channel.
Follow us on Instagram.
Yeah, like this video.
That's the best place to check us out.
Okay. And anything else?
I think that's it. So,
okay. Well, until next time.
I'm Lawrence.
I'm Nick. And happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. See you next time.
See ya.